I'm gonna put up how I figure to get a preset for a truck. It's gonna be at Chicagoland. The league I run. I'm gonna be there next week, so it's kind of relevant. Um, it's not that hard, but you got to do it. you know, because what I run and what somebody else runs, it's totally different. So this will kind of give you an idea of how I do it. Now, before we had that update like a month ago or so, that last big update for the Pro League, it kind of changed the way the tracks are. Essentially, the tracks have less grip, offline, online, but particularly online and online racing. Uh, it's like you get 50% tires, starting out. It can be annoying and frustrating. You got to change your setups to adjust to it to a point because it's grip. You can't just put PJ1 down on the track like you can do in real life. So I used to start all the trucks out a preset 9, but because of the lack of grip, I start at preset 7 now. So we're just gonna, you can't click. That's a 1, so it's 1. Yeah. If I can get my fingers to work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9. Yeah, that's a 7. Okay, got that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You were already on 1, so 1 plus 6 is 7. So that's a 7. Oh, it looks funny on here. Okay, so start practice. Now, whenever I do this is in times 2, by the way. That's what my league is in. I always do a fuel run. So you got 25 laps. Now, the idea behind the number that you pick is you got to hold on to it when the race starts until you can make changes. That means at my race next week at Chicagoland, I'm gonna have to hold on to whatever number I start with for 25 laps. Actually feels pretty good. So that's what I got to do. So I got 24 laps of work, and you're coming along with me. If you don't want to wait or whatever, you can skip ahead, but you might miss some interesting stuff. It's a little tentative. I run on a wheel, so it's usually easier, smoother, and I like to run it full, full out. In the race, you'd be letting off and doing all sorts of things, unless you're in the lead. So running full out, probably, not a realistic thing, especially if you're not starting up front. But in practice, the faster you can, the harder you can run it, the more you'll see what's going on. They say I got a 7, right? And look at that right front. The right front is wearing a little bit more. It's early in the run. The new is still not off the tires yet, but it's getting there. But see, that tire temp is 220, 235 versus about 210, 215 on the right rear. So it's pushing a little, and I'm pushing it, but it's a little tight off. See that? A little tight off. It's not bad. We have to see how bad it gets, because 25 laps is a long time. We run a 50% race. I know it's not a 25 lap stage. It's less than that. I think it's about 17, 18 laps or something for a stage run. Maybe even less. I don't remember. But if it's too tight, and maybe I got to go looser. And I always prefer starting out looser, as long as I can hold on to it, than tight, because you tend to be a little bit faster to a point. It's not really loose as fast kind of thing, but in a way it is, but not in the extreme. Because sometimes tight can be faster too, especially on a compromise kind of setup like a preset, because you can only change so much on a preset during a race. Wedge, tire pressure, tape. So you gotta kind of like get it close. Now, this is what I call, You see 78 and 86 on the right side tires, 78, 85. So that's like 5-6% tight. That's not bad, but I prefer more like 2% or even difference between the right side tires. The left sides are fine, the left sides are barely wearing, so it means that however they did this default preset 6-7 setup, the right side tires are doing most of the work. Now, we're at Chicagoland, and I just hit one of the glitches or bumps or divots and try to kick the rear end out. I found the line that I'm running here in the truck tends to work better, especially if you have a little bit less grip. It's offline practice, so you know it's going to have a little bit more grip than you online. That might actually, you know, be why I'm a little bit tighter, because when you get to qualifying and practice offline, just like online, it gets a little the track changes. Tends to get a little bit more grippy. But since the update, I haven't been running career. I haven't run. Last career race I ran is like, Jesus, 8 months ago, 7 months ago, something like that. Because I've been involved in online league racing. Because I found out, you know, you race offline, 105 speed rating is great. The AI cars, you know, maxed out. But when you get online, you realize that the online fast guys are running like 115 speed rating. So you got to step up your game substantially. Still a challenge in career mode until you get a, you know, a 100% car, truck, or whatever. You know, you gotta kind of like work your way up to it, and that's cool. You know, and I could talk about all the little quirks and things I don't like about the game, but overall it's pretty damn good. So here, if you notice, you're watching my right side tire wear. The temps aren't that bad, but you watch it in the turns. You know, like when you get back on the gas. Here, look at that, 270 and 225. So that's a big difference. I don't really like more than a 10 or 20 degree difference between the right side tire temps as a general rule. Harder to achieve on a preset, but I'm thinking, you know, I might be able to get away with an 8. Fast tracks, you tend to be more forgiving. You know, if you got tight turns involved, then you know it's much harder to get through it. But this is tight enough. That's 10% tight, and I'm at 13. That's halfway through a run, and I'm pretty much going to be out to lunch when it comes time to pit. I know I'm not that fast, but relative to the other cars, but everybody else will be in my league race will be in the same boat, so it's all a relative thing. I'd still probably be running around 31.7 as well, you know, kind of thing. But I don't like it. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna finish the fuel run out because I already see where this is going. Is I'm gonna head back to the garage. So you get nice lap times there. It drove fine. It's just not fast. So I'm gonna go up to an 8. And we will try this again. So I'm at an 8. A lot of times I can tell how the car or truck's going to act in a turn when I make a change by how it acts on the apron. It held it real well. If you notice, you paid attention when I first got on the track with the last run, I kind of slipped up onto the track. I didn't mean to, but it's probably because it was a little bit too tight. Okay, actually feels a little better. It takes a couple laps for the tire temps to build up. pressures to build. Something that they do a fairly good job of recreating from real life. Oh, and I hit a faster lap too. Well, that's encouraging. Yeah, it still looks like it's going to be a little tight, but how much? Let's see. Wow, that was as fast as my career mode custom setup truck. Not a full aero or suspension, but that's damn encouraging. See, it's still a little tight, 3%. You know what? It's 4%. Let's 5%. Let's go and just go crazy, and let's see what a 9 will do. If it frees it up in the turns, that can be a good thing. I prefer. I like third gear on the apron. Tends to let you drive it a little easier. That was good. Yeah. So if I prefer to have it looser when I adjust for it. Just feathered it a little bit there. I probably could have held it down, but just burned the tires off in a bad way. Yeah, damaging your tires has become a thing since the update too. If you get into the wall or something, it'll take some wear off your tires, and your tires will wear weirdly. So try to avoid contact, spinning, all that kind of stuff, because wow. Yeah, it's like in real life, it kind of really screws your tires up. Remember, I got into a somebody else's incident. Somebody hit me, and they spun, but we had no damage on them. We don't run damage in that particularly. And I didn't wreck me or anything, but the other person wrecked when he bounced off me when he spun, and it got me sideways. So I was always sideways at Michigan, doing like 180 miles an hour. So when it got me sideways, it took about 10% of wear off the right rear tire, immediately, and then it just was really loose the rest of the run. Okay, so I'm still showing 1% tight at a 9, which is that's interesting. So that means I'll still have to loosen it up. Well, Chicagoland is a very fast track, and it pays to be in the gas a lot. I don't know how your times are, but from online racing, these are not bad times at all. I know the goal is a 30.88, but that's typically at a fast track like this that's in the draft. Although I know guys who can do that. This is my fast lap here in a custom setup, a 31.1. That's an old setup. I don't think I raced a truck at Chicagoland in 6 months, so I haven't come back and update my custom setup here at all until today. And I was racing a career race with a less than truck, so not an accurate assessment. And that 31.1 is probably a draft lap anyway. But anyway, so feels good, but I'm still loose. Look at it, I'm still tight. Look at it, I'm 6% tight. So for my pit adjustments, we'll start working on the pit adjustments at the moment. Because what's happening is that off the turn there, it might look like I'm getting loose, but it's actually digging in the right because it's tight. See that? 265, 245. It's not bad balance, but look at that wear. Yeah, if I leave it like this, it might make me more stable, but I don't know. Put some tape on it. Yeah, see, it's sliding up a little bit now. But the right front's wearing that much more. Okay, so now I'm in race mode. I'm going to start with a 9. Screw it. I can adjust during the race too, but I'm going to give you how I decide what number I'm doing. I usually do a more detailed, accurate assessment when I do when I practice before the race. Okay, I'll come into the pits here. Break at the Chicagoland sign. Get it down. 45. Roll across the line. Yeah, that's good. What am I gonna do? I need to loosen it up. I need tape. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tape. And let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Pound in the right rear. Let's make it easy. My wedge is a little low for me, but let's see. I prefer a 50 or above. On a track like this, typically I would go 50.9 if I was loose. But I'm not loose. It's acting loose because it's too tight, but it's not loose. Now, it might be completely different in the race, and this is offline, which is completely different also, but at least give you an idea. So I do recommend doing all this online, except you can't change certain things online, especially, you know, like your preset number. So getting it in the ballpark offline is what we're talking about. Okay. It's not over-rotating. It feels snug, but the tire temps haven't come up. What I mean by snug, it means it's got a lot of security in it. Doesn't feel like it's sliding or loose or tight. It's just a tick, tiny little bit tight, snug. It's usually a good thing. But tires are fresh, they haven't started to wear. We watch the tire temps. Yeah, the right front is already up to 245, 248. And that kind of bothers me a little bit, because I did loosen it up. And I only got 49% wedge in it, so it's interesting. Now 2%, 3% wear. Like the third lap, second lap. That's okay. So this is what we're gonna have at Chicagoland. Basically fighting tight. So I look at the left side tires. I know they're not wearing very much, but their temps are low. You pretty much like to have your tire temps 220 to 250. You know, like 249, 250 kind of thing. It's where they get the most grip. And the left side tires, you know, might be representative of a very hard compound, because Chicagoland is a very fast track. And they tend to do that like at Daytona and Talladega, especially in the Truck Series. So you don't have to change left side tires as much. You know, you're not paying for tires in the game, so you know, four tires is better than 2, unless you're trying to win a race or something and you think you can hold on to it, because you do get less grip on older tires, especially with the heat cycle. Look at that. It's still tight. Wow. It's interesting. But I can deal with it. It doesn't feel bad at all. Still wants to kick out on each you know, off the turns there. The temps are okay. You know, a little hotter than I'd like. I like 250, but like 251, 252. I mean, as you slow down, that'll settle down a bit too. But you know, a lot of people say, oh, you put too much tape on it, now that's why you're wearing your right front. I was wearing my right front before with no tape on it. On a fast track or a draft track like Chicagoland here, which races more like Daytona and Talladega, more tape gets you more speed. And you can, you know, on a preset's a little difficult, but on a custom setup you can adjust for that. You know, you just loosen it up more, which tends to get you more speed, so it kind of works out, you know, to your benefit. So you work with the tape. Make the tape your friend. Yeah, it's still tight though. So when I'm thinking about things I can do, I don't want to touch the wedge. Wedge is already way too low. I wonder if the wedge being way too low, see, when you lower the wedge, you put more weight on the left front and the right rear, which can loosen it up. When you add wedge, put more weight on the right front and the left rear. And if you look at the diagonals here, the left rear is like 179 temp. It's like not even touching the track, barely. The left front is under 200, so it's touching the track a lot lighter, even though it's got all that weight on it, which can also do that. Well, that's a whole other thing. What I want to concentrate on is the right front. Right front might be wearing because it's not in contact with the track enough, which is kind of an opposite thinking thing, but you get like that. Because also my custom setups and the Fast Guys custom setups use a lot more wedge. You know, 52 wedge and above is kind of very normal. And 49 put all that weight on the right rear and the left front, but it's not acting tight. It's not acting loose, I mean. You know, if anything, now I got it about even, but I've already, you know, worn the right front tire down more than the right rear, so that's not really a good thing, is it? I mean, it's driving well, but it's a little unstable off the turns. I'll accept that because it's a preset. Can't adjust some things like camber or whatnot. The temps don't seem so bad, middle to inside. I'm not even familiar with truck, you know, what kind of lap speed you should be running with older tires. But I can race it. I don't know how fast it'll be. So I don't like tire wear. The game is skewed towards tire wear since the update from when it, you know, first came out. And so getting your tires to live is like half the battle. Being fast with better tire wear is like, that's a winning combination. To a point. But I like that. I like that advantage. I don't like to feel like if I have to take avoiding action, which happens a lot in online league racing, that I'm just going to spin out if I turn the wheel too much on old tires. I like more security built in, but not at the expense of speed. You know, especially at the downside of a run, which is the last half, which we're in now. 25 laps of fuel, 10 laps left. This is where the bad part of the setup will show its ugliness, and it's not very ugly at all with 10 laps of gas left. I can feel it has a little bit less grip, and I've adjusted my on and off points. You see it's drifting up by itself for lack of grip. The difference in tire temps is not that great. .255, that's kind of like what I like to see. So even though I got more right front tire wear, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, you can't just, there's no black and white rules. It's for the most part, it's a feel thing. And, you know, like you might be slower starting out, but, you know, halfway through the run, you might be a half a second faster than the leader. And that's a good thing. You know, so you might not fire off the fastest, as long as you can keep up in contact with leaders and then, you know, pass them before the stage end or whatever. That's not a bad thing. Thing is that I'm basing this practice on a 25 lap run, and I know the stage is going to be shorter. But I can drive it, and that's half the battle. And this is a draft track. It's getting a little quirky now with about 7-8 laps to go. I just want to see what that tire wear is going to do on the right front. How far down is it? Because in the third stage, even in the first two stages, you don't have to run it all the way down like this. In the last stage, you know, the possibility that you might have to. So I think there's 41 laps, so that's one pit stop. So depending on your strategy, you know, you might have to run 25 laps, and knowing what it does at the end and how slow it goes will help you determine, you know, what to do when stuff happens in the third stage. 32.6 seems slow to me. So, like, if there's 41 laps, I might be thinking, split it up, you know, 20 laps and 20 laps. Pit now, in other words, kind of thing. If I was in the third stage. I hit that little groovy thing there. Now, if you notice, I'm not going on the apron, because you hit the apron on a track like this, it tends to wear the right front a little bit more. If you're loose, it's a little thing that can help you even the tire wear out, keep the car a little bit more neutral. So now 4 laps to go. I got 19% on the right front. It's not driving bad at all. It's holding, it's not sliding. I mean, if you hear I'm adjusting my off the gas and on the gas points, you can pick up a 10th there. But I can drive it. Oh, I want to over-rotate a little bit there. And you see the tire temps are fairly even. If I can make a camber adjustment on the preset, I would. Right front. That's a tough one. Because my instinct is to adjust it. I'm gonna pit this time. Chicagoland sign, hit the brakes.
Easy on the tires, driver.
That's my thing. Let's try this. And let's do this. Let's see what this does. I'm experimenting, so probably won't have to run a full fuel run to see what it does. But this is a weird one. It's usually easier than this, but happens sometimes. And again, I can still race it. But I like to have something that,
Okay, get back in there. Let's go.
you know, at least capable of winning. And I know from experience I could probably get away with it, but I might not be able to. Well, it actually feels good. So maybe it was that weight balance. Let's see if that was a good or a bad change. It's a little squirrely, front and rear getting up to speed. But a track like this, you gotta wait for the tire temps to come up to really see what you got. Oh, it's sticking. A little bit tight, but that could just be because I'm pushing it with the without the tire temps being up. Whoa, it's a little slidey. I open up the stagger a little bit, so that could be that. Let's see how it does in a minute. So my instinct is to leave the right side tires alone and up the tire pressure on the inside, closing the stagger a little bit, which is like a fine-tune adjustment for a wedge. But actually, now that the tire temps are up, it feels much more secure. I can push it a little harder. But not bad. 270 on the right front, but see, sometimes like a track, same thing. That's weird. It's almost like, you know, and this is something also we've been seeing, is that it's like you make a big change. I made a big change, but it didn't really do anything. You know, I might have upped the temp a little bit, but after 5 laps being, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8% tight, that's not that far off. I'm not feeling it there a little bit, but it feels much more secure. My goal was to make the wear better, not worse. And with the limited pit stop settings you can use, it basically means tire pressure, because I don't really like running it under a 50 wedge, because it tends to come back to bite you. Like if I had to take avoiding action, like with 10 laps to go, geez, I would have spun out probably. Or it would have wanted a lot more. But I do not like that. Right front temp. It's pushing up. That's a definite push. What to do? What to do? It's holding off much better. That's a 9% tight. I don't like that. Left side tire temps are still a little bit low. If you can engage the left sides and add more grip there, and it takes the pressure off the right sides, so it lessens the effect. So you can make it less tight. It'll still be tight, but it'll be a little less tight. Little things. You're talking about nth degrees. You're not talking about big swings. And we need a bigger swing than that. It's driving really good though. Just off there. As it wears, I noticed it flipped a little bit loose at the end of a run.
Stay low, stay low.
Yeah, I can Ah, see, little tight there. Yeah, right rear. So I think I'll add a pound all around, which will loosen it up, put some pressure in the left side tires without reducing the stagger, and add another pound to the right rear. I'm going to do that this lap. Chicago sign, hit the brakes. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let's see. I'm keeping it full of gas because you got to start the race on a full tank anyway. So, I mean, if I just want to do like a qualifying run, I would, you know, run the fuel down, go with about 4 laps, tape it up, and you'll be faster anyway. But we're trying to figure out how to get this thing to run a full fuel run and be fast. Now that I know what it'll do in a full fuel run, I don't have to run a full fuel run. I can, and I would, but for time here, once I start seeing what I want to see, I'll call it. Okay, that's better. If you notice, when I got off the gas there, the nose kind of dipped to the left, which is something I like to feel. I rarely can get something like that on a preset. So that's good. Oh yeah. It's holding a little bit better. The air on from the truck in front of me probably affected me, because I felt it kind of start sliding a little bit. Oh yeah, aero huge since the update. Much more sensitive offline and online. Oh, tire temps look good. Yeah, I hit the apron. Still starting out a little tight. See, the stupid thing is, you know, you can take this and go into a preset league race or something, and the track in that lobby will be so much different. You'll be out to lunch. So you gotta really know, you know, like, understand that you can only go so far with any of these things now, especially with the way the game is at the moment. But this is how I do it. And, you know, I accept that I get in there and it's out to lunch. Well, I know what adjustments I made, and I know what adjustments I can make. Like, we went into a race in Michigan yesterday, and it was stupid loose at 7, but I could hold on to it for the full fuel run. And when I pitted, I put the wedge up to 50.9. Pretty much that was and the tape up, that was like the only adjustment. And I come out, and I was tight. I was only like 4% tight on that run for the second stage, and it still ran fast. But when I went for the third stage, because I like to have the truck or car as fast as you can get it with adjustments, I took the wedge down to 50.7, and it was great. It handled great the third stage, and I pretty much left it that way, I believe. That was the FSV video. It's in my my videos, uncategorized at the moment. It's the newer one. Now, if you notice, I loosened it up, but my tire wear still sucks on the right front there. So that kind of it's telling me that no matter what I do here, because it's not driving bad, no matter what I do, that right front is going to wear anyway. That's kind of a tough thing, because it's saying that I can't really fix it with pit adjustments. But you notice a little bit, adding the right rear tire pressure is keeping it, equalizing it a little bit to 6, 7, and 8. It's really off that it's tight, not in the middle. Wedge really affects the rotation in the middle of the turn. And as you can see, I'm not sliding up in the middle. I'm right on the white line. And it's equalizing. See that? I held the bottom like that. I'm only doing this to show you I could do it, because that right front tire where I don't want to be down there. You can do it like a lap. If you do it 2 laps, it starts to wear a little bit more. 2 laps in a row. See, I can hold the bottom. Got decent speed off. It's not lightning. But then again, remember, everybody else is going to be in the same boat. So this might be good enough, especially if you can hold on to it, you know, a full fuel run. I'm not driving it hard at all. I was driving my custom setup a lot harder in a B truck in career mode before. So this is really good. See, I keep it right there. I can come off low. It doesn't slide up. So this might just be the way to go. I could probably still add more right rear, but you know, you add more tire pressure, you'll get to the point where it'll start sliding up from the rear. You know, it's still pushing a little, so I probably can get away with another ½ pound or a pound, maybe even more. But that's fine-tuning. See, I'm at what? About 10, 11 laps. And it's still driving good. So this is close. It's not near as close to what I want, but again, presets a lot of times are a compromise. And it's trial and error. Be a scientist, you know. Try this, run 10 laps. Try something else, run 10 laps, etc. I drove it up here this time. A little easier. You run the top a little better. With the lack of grip, I was having to run the middle or the bottom because it was sliding up, but it's not sliding up. So I can kind of go where I want it to go, pretty much. You have to change your off gas and on gas points, but you got to pass somebody on the outside. It's not bad. And remember, draft track, so the most important thing is being able to drive where the guy in front of you is driving, so you can maintain contact with the leaders until it's time to make your move. You know, if you figure out how to get the car, you know, faster than everybody else, then make your move and head for the horizon and the checkered flag. Just minimize your mistakes. Look, I'm 14% tight. Wow. That's wild. That is wild. Just trying to see how much wear per lap. That was 1%, 2%, 3%, 3%. 3% is normal, so it stabilizes. It just starts out tight. See, 42, 41. That's 1%. %, 3%, whoop, yeah, 4%, okay, so 4% there. So getting the next 10 laps out of this, of these tires, that right front tire is going to be tough. So I have to loosen it up a little bit more. Now, if this was a, oh, should have pitted. But if this was a custom setup, I'd be doing other things, because wedge is mainly for the middle, the center of the corner, of when you hit the apex, rolling through the corner. Our right front is to tighten it up. Right rear, I mean, is to loosen it up. So I can drive it. I'll be okay. I might add another pound all around, keep the balance, and I might add another pound. In other words, do another pound all around and then a pound in the right rear, because it can stand the loosening. That's a 9. Jeez. They really nerfed this stuff. I should be spinning out loose like that. And then again, I might get into the race and I might spin off pit road. I want to make these changes. So that's all for now. But that's how I do a preset. I wish it was easier. An easier track. Michigan was really easy. It's like 20 laps and I knew what I was doing. But that's how it is sometimes. Some tracks are easier to figure out. Some tracks are harder, and some tracks it's just you're still scratching your head. But now what I would do is I would get online with some of my buddies and run a practice race. At least, a stage run. And see how it handles versus how everybody else is handling. And then, maybe make adjustments from there. But that's it. Thank you for coming along. And make sure you like, subscribe if you choose to, comment. All is welcome. Thank you.